What's up, guys? It's Rip City Rundown, and today I'm going to be doing an in-depth review of Yusuf Nurkic today. I'm going to be going through his B-ball index page. I'm going to show you guys some stats and just give my opinion on him. I'm coming into this video with no preconceived notions. Obviously, I think Yusuf Nurkic has been extremely inconsistent this year, so I'm going to see if the numbers back that up, and I'm going to talk about a few things and a few stats that I want to really hone in on and kind of just do a full-on review with you. So I haven't given the full review. I haven't gone through his entire stat page so far. I'm kind of doing it as I do this video so you get genuine reactions, because I've said this whole season he's been a bad finisher. Let's see if he actually truly is a bad finisher. So B-ball index, I think it's $5 a month or something to get these stats right here, and this is just going to give his percentile compared to the rest of the league, and specifically compared to the rest of centers. So should be fun. I'm excited to get into it. Before I get into it, I want to talk about some of these merch pieces behind us, because the December Christmas drop is officially out, and we've got our newest shirt, the long sleeve, as you see, Rip City Rundown on the front with the PDX hoops and the Oregon, and then check out that back. We got Anthony, Dame, and Jeremy, made in the Pacific Northwest, established in 2022, 2023. As you see, we got the red there. We've got the hoodie, the Rip City Rundown hoodie, and then the black version of the red, for which, if you haven't seen, Rip City Rundown on the front, City of Roses on the back. So I'll put those back so they stay in the back of the video. But if you want to check those out, click the top link in the description, ripcityrundown.com/shop. You can find all those things, and you can also follow us on social medias so you don't miss out on any future drops. Again, this is going to be open probably for the next 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas, but if you want to get it by Christmas, I would try to order it within the next couple days, probably by the end of the week. So, quick update on that. Let's get into the video about Yusuf Nurkic. All right, so Yusuf Nurkic, let's talk about him. We're going to go through these stats and just kind of give as unbiased of an opinion, and I don't have a bias against Jusuf Nurkic at all. I just think he has been extremely inconsistent this year, and his inconsistencies have been very glaring so far this year. So, first thing we'll look at, Jusuf Nurkic, he's, when it comes to touches and everything, 86th percentile in touches, 80th percentile in minutes, 84th in usage. So the Blazers are using him a lot compared to other centers in the league, which makes sense because he has played in a lot of games without Damian Lillard. We've run a lot of our offense through Jusuf Nurkic, but that's not the most encouraging thing. If you go on to one-on-one, he's in the 94th percentile in total isolations. So does Jusuf Nurkic really deserve to be one of the highest used players in the league? No. And I think that's something that the Blazers are going to have to change, because he's been inconsistent. And maybe he hasn't, but we'll look at those throughout the rest of the video. So as I bring up more stats here, we'll go to three-point shooting, I guess, or perimeter shooting. He's in the 92 percentile in three-point shooting, but he's in the 0 percentile in corner threes, and obviously 0 percentile in pull-up threes. He's not going to hit those ever. He's not going to take those ever. But overall, as you see, perimeter shooting, 35% D+ grade. Yusuf Nurkic shouldn't be shooting threes. I know he's been hitting a couple shots here and there. He's shooting, says 41.9% from three. He's not a three-point shooter. All his shots are wide open into the shot clock, and when he does take those contested threes, it is ugly. So, again, I'm not going to get mad at Yusuf Nurkic for taking a into the shot clock three where he gets at the top of the key, and he has to put it up, because the majority of the times he's hitting those, honestly. But he shouldn't take one shot from corner three. He hasn't hit one all year. He's definitely a lot better at the top of the key. So, perimeter shooting, that's not really something we need to worry about when it comes to Yusuf Nurkic. Finishing is where I want to talk the most, because that has been the most glaring weakness, it feels like, for Yusuf Nurkic this year. And let's see if the numbers say the same. Rim shot creation, 91% in the A range. 95% of his total shots are at the rim. Okay, so that's just where he's shooting the ball. Obviously, he's shooting most of his shots at the rim. He is a center. We've got rim shot making, 11th percentile in the league for an F grade. 52%, 52nd percentile in the rim shot quality. So he's not taking the most quality looks. He's taking average, not the easiest looks, but he is in the 11th percentile in rim shot making. And that is what I really want to focus on, and it's what I've been saying this whole year, and the numbers are backing it up. Yusuf Nurkic has been a terrible finisher at the league. I think he's the fourth worst finisher among starting bigs. Maybe it was second, it updated recently, but one of the worst finishers among starting bigs this year. And when you're getting looks from Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons, you're not getting the hardest looks. I mean, 52nd percentile, so he's getting average looks. He's not getting the cleanest looks, but he's not getting the hardest looks. But 11th percentile in finishing is about as bad as it can get for a guy that is getting paid, at the end of the day, $70 million over 4 years. That's a lot of money for Jusuf Nurkic, and he's not living up to that money. The 11th percentile says so. There's no silver lining in 11 percentile shooting at the rim. As you see the other numbers, I mean, drive, assist, pass, drive, assist rate. Like, some of these stats really aren't that valuable to Nurkic, but the finishing and the rim shot making is probably the most important stat in this. As you see, it's one of the bolded ones, so I assume it is one of the more important ones. And then just by the wording, you can tell it's one of the more important ones, but that is a glaring issue. Nurkic's got to finish that. A lot of his flip shots and his taking just shots that he shouldn't be taking. He's not going up strong. He's not using his 300-pound frame, one of the bigger frames in the entire league. He should be one of the best finishers in the league, let's be honest. And that's what he was before his injury. Post-injury, Nurk has been different. It's been a little disappointing. Hopefully that gets boosted up, but at this rate, it's not going to cut it if the Blazers want to be a good team. Playmaking-wise, this is where we'll see Nurkic is pretty good for a center. Being in the 53rd percentile when it comes to playmaking talent as a center is pretty impressive, I gotta say. Pretty impressive. Passing efficiency, 52nd percentile. Scoring gravity, 92 percentile. So he garners a lot of gravity. I'll give it to him because he can pass the ball. And obviously big men are going to take on bigger gravity, whatever the term you want to use, that's the term they use. But as a big, he's going to bring more eyeballs because obviously bigger guy, more eyeballs. That's just how it works. Screening. Yusuf Nurkic is one of the better screeners in the league. 97th percentile in screen assists. That's a good sign, and that's good to know considering how big he is. He should be setting good hard screens, but to be in the A+ range, that's very impressive. He's one of the better roll mans in the league as well. They don't do a lot of pick and roll, as you see. 77th percentile for a big is not that high, but 95th percentile in team roll man share, 98th percentile in total roll man impact per 75. That's a good thing. Yusuf Nurkic, good job on that. Post play, 98th percentile in total post frequency. That is a lot of post ups for Yusuf Nurkic for only averaging 14 points a game. I think this goes into his finishing. He's getting a lot of looks. He's getting a lot of opportunities, but he's not converting those opportunities. Are you interested to see if Chauncey continues that the rest of the year, depending on how long he'll be here? Who knows? He could be on trade targets. Let's be honest. He's probably been the weakest point of our starting lineup based on expectations. At the end of the day, that's what we're basing them on. He's making $70 million a year, and to only average 14 points a game on some of the worst finishing numbers in the league, that is concerning. If he was making just $10 million, we would be extremely ecstatic with what he's doing. But based on how much he's paid, it's disappointing. Rebounding is always going to be a great rebounder, and I think that's something that gets overlooked a little bit with Nurkic is the fact that he is a really good rebounder. You guys like Miles Turner, who we could be looking at in trades, that brings a ton of value in places like three-point shooting, shot blocking, finishing, but he's not a good rebounder. So with Jeremy Grant on this team and his subpar rebounding, we need a good rebounder there. That's why Josh Hart's rebounding numbers are so up, because those are really the only two rebounders on the team. So shout out Nurk, defensive rebounding, checking out. But again, that is expected from Nurkic. Defense, let's look at interior defense. He is 77th percentile in rim deterrence, 95 percentile in rim shots contested, and 77 percentile in blocks, 98 percentile in rim contests. So his interior defense looks pretty solid. I can't get mad at that. I think he has been a little iffy on his defense this year. Numbers are telling me that he's been pretty good, but again, this is compared to the rest of the league, so obviously a big man is going to be skewed to have better interior defense, but nothing bad when I look at those interior defensive matchups. Raptor rating, that's a pretty important stat. That just takes into account your entire impact on the team. 69 percentile in Raptor, but as you see, clearly his defensive Raptor rating is much better than his offensive Raptor rating, which I think the eye test checks out. He's been better on defense than he has on offense this year. He's had probably 2 games this entire season when you really feel Jusuf Nurkic's presence on the offensive side. That was that Phoenix game, second game of the year, when he put up, 20 and 19 against Ayton. And then I think it was the Houston game when Dame was first out, when he put up 27 and 15, his best performance of the year in my opinion. And yeah, that's just shows to show you haven't really felt a lot of impact from Jusuf Nurkic on the offensive end this season. So overall wise, I mean, I think the stats are telling us exactly what we're getting from Nurkic. He's given you a pretty good impact defensively, not the best impact offensively, as being a terrible finisher this year. Pretty good interior defense, good playmaking for his position, and overall I think that at the end of the day, the most important things in those statistical things that we just covered is A, finishing, and B, interior defense. He's bringing it defensively pretty well. Not the best he could do, but pretty well. And then finishing is just downright awful. And at the end of the day, that is what he is paid to do. He is paid to finish, and he is paid to play interior defense, and he's only doing one of those things right now. So I think that's something that we need to look at throughout the rest of this season, throughout up until the trade deadline, because if this doesn't improve, I don't see why the Blazers don't move on from Nurkic. I'm not advocating to move on from Nurkic. I'm just saying what I think the Blazers could do, because Joe Cronin said at the beginning press conference to start the year, he's not afraid to make moves, and we've seen that. Neil Olshey held on to C.J. McCollum for, 5 years longer than he probably should have, and right when Joe got the job, he bit the bullet. He traded C.J. McCollum, he traded Norman Powell, he traded Robert Covington, and he brought in impact guys that fit the Blazers mold. And right now, Nurkic is kind of teetering on, does he fit, does he not? He's a great... at the end of the day, he doesn't do anything great. We saw the defensive numbers. He is a good defender. He's not a great defender. He's got no crowns on this list. As you see, there were a couple times when there were poop stains. That means he is the worst in the league at that, such as, I don't want to pull up three-point percentage. Fine, we don't care that he's the worst in the league. But if he was the best interior defender, he would have a crown next to his name. He's got no crowns. Not everyone has crowns, but Dame's got crowns. Anthony Simons probably has crowns. Jeremy Grant has crowns. Everyone, a lot of players, there's so many stats in here that, believe it or not, players end up being the best at a certain thing in the league a lot of the times, especially if you're making $70 million or more. So this is coming from an unbiased Nurk fan. I said at the beginning of the year, I think this would be Nurk's best season since his leg break. I mean, you could say it is, but at the same time, it's not as good as what he was. So I thought he was going to get back to his pre-Nurk leg break self. But unfortunately, he hasn't. And that finishing is just the most glaring thing that he's got to work on. It's something that has to improve. You got to assume he's working on it every day in practice. You got to assume they're sending bodies at him in practice, and he's working on finishing through contact because that's what he's really struggled at. So that's kind of the full breakdown of the Jusuf Nurkic statistical numbers when it comes to comparing to the rest of the league. There's a lot of numbers I threw at you. You can formulate your own opinions off of the numbers you saw, but numbers don't lie at the end of the day. So comment down below your thoughts on Nurkic. Check out the merchandise. I think this shirt is one of the coolest shirts we've ever dropped. Long sleeve, it's getting cold in Portland in the winter, so you're going to need those long sleeves. Maybe you want a hoodie. The hoodie's simple. The hoodie's light. The hoodie's nice. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go check out, like I said, go check out the merch, ripcityrundown.com/shop. Top link in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.